Buenos, amamos aprender. Please excuse me, I'm American, but I wanted to speak in your language. This is my class. My students love to learn. I love to learn. And I'm sure that all of you love to learn because you're sitting here today. I am Alison Elizondo, and I'm a 4th grade teacher. I teach in Milpitas, California, and I've taught for 14 years in the same district. For the last 8 years, I've taught at Burnett Elementary School. We are a Title I school, which means that 40% of our population lives in poverty. I'd like to share with you my story about how I got involved in blended learning. I was a traditional teacher for the first 11 years of my career. I knew it wasn't the best way to teach, but I didn't know any other way. I taught out of the math book, 1 lesson a day. I stood in front of 33 kids, and I knew that I wasn't meeting the needs of every single student. There was a time that my vice principal came to speak to me, and he wanted to share with me the online platform of Khan Academy. When he showed me the real-time data, the rich data, the easy-to-access data, I was amazed. And I knew at that point I was going to change my teaching forever. I had reinvented myself in one day. The very next day, I introduced Khan Academy to my students. And because of that, our learning changed. I would have never believed that in such a short time, 3 years ago, I would have made such a big difference, that I would be invited to speak here at an innovative conference in Brazil. But here I am. I'd like to share with you a quote from my friend Jessica, who works at Khan Academy. She told me that 65% of the jobs that my students will have, my 4th graders will have, by the time they enter college and career, have not even been invented yet. Let me say that again. I have 4th graders, so in 8 years, there are going to be many jobs that my kids will have that haven't even been invented yet. So in my mind, that says that the academic needs of my students are sort of up in the air. But what I do know is that students are going to have to communicate, collaborate, be able to critically think, and show creativity. Those are the things that employers are going to look for. And it's very ubiquitous to know how to teach those 4 C's, as my district calls them. And the way that we do that is through the 4 R's. Relationships with themselves, between the students, and relationships with me. Through relevant studies that mean something to them, to mean something in their life, either today, tomorrow, in middle school, high school, or career. The way that I meet the needs of sharing those 7 words, the way that I create concrete learning is by modeling these skills myself. I show the kids, I teach the kids that I am a lifelong learner and that learning can and should be fun. I also tell them that it's important to take risks, that it's okay to fail. Just like I created this program, We Love to Learn, I had no idea if it was going to be successful. Taking risks is how real things change. I'm taking a risk standing in front of all of you. I'm not a public speaker, I'm a 4th grade teacher, but I feel passionately about my program. The last thing that I teach my children is to constantly improve, to take steps where they are and to make differences. They know that I improve in my education and in my teaching, that I'm always striving to improve my craft. At this point, I want to give you my own definition of blended learning. I've heard many different definitions, and to me, as a 4th grade teacher, honestly, they've been difficult to understand. I know the words, but I don't know how to put them together. So I did my own research. on Google. And I read many different descriptions of blended learning, and I came up with my own. And this is the definition. Blended learning combines personalized, online delivery of content with the best practices of classroom teaching. Now I would like to share with you my actual We Love to Learn program that was created with the backbone of Khan Academy as the platform. Honestly, I could teach Khan Academy, or I could coach in Khan Academy 80 minutes a day. I love to coach kids. I love to understand what their problems are and clear up the misconceptions and have them gain mastery immediately based on the homework that they did the night before. But I can't teach Khan Academy for 80 minutes. The kids would be bored. And so because of that, I created a station rotation model. I didn't even know at that point that it was called blending learning. It was just something that I created. So We Love to Learn is a 4 different workshop model with a reflection piece at the end. And each section is 25 minutes long, and the kids rotate with a little girl who is the timekeeper. The first rotation would be Khan Academy, so the kids are broken up into 4 different groups. And when it's the Khan Academy time, they bring their Chromebook, their earbuds, and a notebook. That notebook is divided into 4 different areas: goal setting, note-taking, coaching, and reflections. When they come to the floor with me, what I do is I analyze the data the night before. Here's some of the data that I see at home the night before. The kids' names are listed on the left. The modules are listed up top. Where you see the dark blue, it means the kids have mastered the skill. Where you see that it's gray, it means they haven't even begun the skill. So you see here, no one has ordered decimals. What that means is Khan Academy just added that skill. They are lifelong learners. They always want to improve their craft, which is a great message for students. And then the reds are the areas that students are struggling in. So I would take that immediate data, and those are the kids that I would coach the following day. So real-time data is a big part of Khan Academy. That is the most special part because teachers know who is struggling. We become more of a coach. We're more strategic. And teachers need to realize that the way that we taught 100 years ago isn't going to work now. We have technology that will give real-time data. Before, I would teach a test. I would teach to the test. I would grade the test. It would take about a week for me to grade it and get it back. For the kids that got lower than 70%, I would pull to the floor. I would teach them all together, reteach them, but I didn't know what their misconceptions were. Now, instead of reteaching a whole group, I coach one-on-one. So the real-time data is powerful. Next is the personalization and pace of Khan Academy. I love that too because kids start at the same point, but then they go on. So it works really well for high students as well as low students, and of course the middle. I have a story about Johnny. When I first started Khan 3 years ago, when my vice principal at the time, Rich Julian, told me about it, I told the kids, just peruse the site for the night. Just spend 15 minutes getting to know it. Well, this little boy, Johnny, who I knew was bright, A's on every test, A's on homework, volunteer, I knew he was bright, but I had no idea how bright he was. Until that evening when I checked the data, he had mastered 22 modules in one night. So I was not challenging him in the regular classroom. Khan Academy allowed him to go at his own pace. At the same time, I have a student this year named Nai. Well, really, her name's Naya, but I nickname all my students. So her nickname is Nai. And last year, on the STAR test, which is an annual test that we give in California, she scored below proficient. She was basic. And since she's come to me, she loves Khan Academy. She has now mastered 95 modules, where the average in the class for this time is about 85. And she's only struggling in 3. So she is a success story as well. The next aspect about Khan Academy that I love is the engagement factor. This is a picture of my classroom. When it is Khan Academy time, kids can sit wherever they choose, or they could lay down, or they could sit in camp chairs, or they can snuggle with a pillow pet, or they can sit under a table, sit on a table. I could care less where they are, as long as they're working on math and they're speaking about math. This concept is great because there's kids like Jacob right here who has extreme difficulty sitting in his chair. Very smart boy, but one of those kids that just can't sit still. He loves Khan Academy, he's focused, and he does really well with it. So that's the engagement piece. In terms of motivation, my fourth graders are so motivated by it. They can earn energy badges, energy points, avatars. There's healthy competition in my class. Kids also, God bless you, complement each other. When someone earns a sun badge, which is very difficult to earn, that means they've completed 100 modules, kids clap for them. They're excited. And then there's the elusive black hole badge. That badge has never been earned by anybody, but my students believe they're going to be the ones to earn it. They even got on YouTube and tried to figure out, how do you earn a black hole badge? Or they got on Google, how do you earn a black hole badge? They couldn't find anything. But they are motivated to be the one, especially because I told them they'll probably be on TV if they were the one to find it. After motivating would be goal setting. I really encourage my students to goal set. That's a lifelong experience. They set goals weekly, trimester, for grading purposes, and then they set yearly goals. And they set the yearly goal on the very first day of school this year. I started with the very first day, so that's goal setting. After goal setting comes one-on-one coaching. So this is Megan. I don't know what that is. Oh, this is the playlist. Sorry about that. There's many ways to use Khan Academy. Right now, currently, I'm using the playlist model. And what that is on Mondays, the kids are given a playlist. This playlist has to do with factors, multiples, and patterns. So every kid gets it. Some kids will finish it by the end of the week. Some kids won't, and that's okay. Remember, personalization and pace. But the next week, they will be given another playlist. They won't feel defeated. They'll just move at their own pace. So flexibility on how you use the site. And the site is so easy, and it's free, and it always will be free. And I encourage all of you to check it out, even for yourself. They have history, they have coding, they have art history. It's a wonderful site, and Salcon promises it will never cost any money. Now, next to the playlist is the one-on-one coaching. This is the part that I like. I see myself more as a coach than a teacher, and I'm okay with that. For some teachers, they have trouble giving up the control, but this is a much more effective way to teach, where teachers help kids that have those reds. We don't waste the time on the kids that have the blues because they know what they're doing. So this is an example of Megan and I. She was struggling on multiplication 3 by 2. 3 numbers on the top, 2 numbers below. And I was looking at the questions that she missed, and very quickly, I was able to clear up her misconception. And her misconception was she would carry for the ones place, but then when it got to the tens place, she forgot to cross off what she carried from the ones place. So I was able to clear that up, and then in turn, she could turn around and be proficient or master that skill. Now, I'm only coaching one child at a time, so what about the other kids that are struggling? Well, we do something called peer coaching. And really, I know I told you the other part, the real-time data was my favorite, but really, the peer coaching is the most powerful. So if students are having difficulty, they fill out this "We Can Do This" poster that's on the wall. And every day there's a new one. So for example, Vivi was having trouble with quadrilateral types. And you write your name up there if you're struggling when I'm with someone else. And then someone else in the group, if they've already mastered it, they are responsible, they are expected to coach one student. And so when Vivi was working on quadrilateral types, Megan said, oh, I've already mastered that. Let me coach you. Now, I have two amazing stories to share with you. These are 9-year-old children. And if you give them the freedom to be creative, they will rise to the challenge. Here's the first example. My student Matthew, this happened this year, is coaching my student Sunshine. Again, that's her nickname. Her real name's Sky. And Matthew decided to have Sky watch the video again with her earbuds. And Matthew, in turn, watched the same video with his earbuds. He asked Sky to take notes. And what he did is he looked at her notes and was able to clear up the misconception. That was his idea, which is a great idea. Secondly, this year, 2 boys, Nathan and Austin, they were Skyping for fun, having a conversation one evening. And Nathan was having trouble with quadrilateral types. So he asked Austin on Skype, could you coach me? So Matthew coached Nathan on Khan Academy on quadrilateral types in the evening through Skype. And then the next day, Austin brought in a note card of all the different quadrilateral types to help Nathan. These are 9-year-old kids that created that on their own by giving them that freedom. So that's the Khan Academy rotation. Second, we have a rotation called Common Core Board Math. Now, this is in my classroom. Basically, the reason it's called board math is because it's a board. And I broke it up into different shapes. I go to Khan Academy on the Common Core map. I copy a standard that is relevant to my students at that point. I go through the practice problems myself. I choose the most rigorous problems. And by the way, my students know that rigorous means challenging yet attainable, and they know all of those academic words. So I create problems that are rigorous, and then I leave room, like number 4, for kids to create their own problems. This is done in pairs, and they have a blank template that they answer the problems. My third rotation is called Common Core Performance Task. And this is where kids work together in triads and they solve real-life application of that Common Core standard, and they do it together. In addition to that, I created an addendum where they have to, again, create their own problems similar to the problems shown up here, and then they have to solve that problem. And lastly, they have to write a narrative on how they solve that problem. So that's Common Core Performance Task. The fourth and final rotation is called Edu-Creations. This is a free Apple app, free Apple iPad app, and the students create their own 3-minute videos based on Sal's video in Khan Academy. So they are paired up heterogeneously. They have to do research on Khan Academy. They have to find the module the highest module that both of them have mastered. Then they have to watch the video again to make sure they understand it. They have to look at the practice problems and pick out the most rigorous ones. They have to rehearse on note cards, and then they create their own 3-minute video that other students in the class could use as a tool. After the fourth rotation, this is the fourth, we do a reflection piece. Oh, I love that. See, my program's we, love, with like different symbols, to, the number, and then learn. Anyway, the reflection piece is whole group, and there's 5 guiding questions. What successes did you observe? What needs improvement? What do you need from me? And who were the leaders amongst you? Who could you give compliments to? And then there's a once around where it doesn't fit into any of those categories. And this is what my principal refers to as a kid think tank. And everyone participates. For the quiet kids, I will pull sticks out of a jar so that they will be forced to participate. I'm going to take a side note about those quiet kids. I have a lot of them. We all that are teachers have the quiet kids, the smart kids, the well-behaved kids, the great kids. But in today's world, you can't be shy. You can't be quiet. You have to communicate. That's what employers are looking for. That's what teachers are looking for. And so in my class, I've created a very safe environment where kids feel free to take risks to talk. And if they're not willing to do it on their own, I force them to. And we have very rich discussions here. As an example, a boy raised their hand as something to improve was that the centers were too short. They were 20 minutes to start with. We can't finish anything then. And after a week or two, they said, we changed it to 30 minutes. They said, no, Mrs. E, that's too long. So now we do it for 25 minutes. I genuinely take the ideas that they come up with and I use them. So those are the 5 pieces. And now what I want to tell you is the culture of the classroom. The culture of the classroom is what I believe is the cause of the success of my program. The culture of the classroom. If teachers spent time developing a warm, rich culture in the classroom, your students will do anything for you. And so here are some examples of how I create a positive culture in my classroom. First of all, as you've seen through just a few pictures, it's a very warm environment. It sort of looks like a little home. There's a couch, a coffee table, a rug. It smells good with those Glade plug-ins. There's lamps around the room. There's a lava lamp. There's a fish tank. I have Christmas lights. I have camp chairs and pillow pets. It's a pretty place to be, and kids like to be there. Secondly, I'm a very nurturing teacher. I have 2 kids of my own, and I try to be the teacher that I want my kids to have. If there's any problems on the playground or in the home, I will spend time trying to help them with those issues, because I feel that if kids feel like they're having trouble in their real life, that will impact their education. There are many teachers that say, I'm not dealing with drama, I'm a teacher. Well, I do deal with the drama, which isn't my most favorite part to deal with, but I do that. The third area of making a warm environment is by sharing a lot about myself. I'm pretty much an open book. They know what my favorite color is. They know what my favorite flower is. They know that my son had brain cancer at 3 years old. They know pretty much everything about me. And what I think that does is it creates a buy-in that they trust me. They trust me as a person. And then you see these kids, they're standing under a board, and that's called our Pledge and Promise board. And I spend 10 minutes a day. We go over all of these things that I'm going to show you. And even though it's not academic, I feel that it's 10 minutes that is really worthwhile. And the way that I know that is because if I forget to do it on a certain day, I'm too busy, the kids will remind me we haven't done the Pledge and Promise. Or as I'm going to be gone from school for 6 days, they wrote, put Pledge and Promise in the lesson plans. And so the Pledge and Promise starts like this. The first one says, we are responsible for our own behavior. We will make quality choices, and we will show random acts of kindness. So it puts it on them. Second is the golden rule, treat others the way you want to be treated. And the third one focuses on don't worry about what happened yesterday, what happened tomorrow, focus on today. And this one I did not make up. This is from Kung Fu Panda. So, a movie. I don't want to take credit for something I didn't make up. It goes like this. Yesterday is a memory. Tomorrow is a mystery. Today is a gift. That is why it is called the present. So then after that, we say a chant, which I'm not going to chant, but I'm just going to tell you. It's watch your thoughts, they become words. Watch your words, they become actions. Watch your actions, they become habits. Watch your habits, they become your character. Watch your character, it becomes your destiny. And then we do dream it, believe it, achieve it. And then we sing a song, a varied song. Right now we're singing the song from the Lego movie, Everything is Awesome. And I have kids that pretend they're the DJ during it. So that's our 10 minutes of Pledge and Promise. And I think that that creates the nurturing environment. Here's a letter that I received recently. I get love notes every day. In fact, there were 3 in my purse that I brought here. And I didn't even know they went in my purse. I totally trust them. One of them said, believe in yourself. One of them said, remember the connections that you have with us. And the third one says, I believe in you. They just stuck those in my purse. And so this was a letter that I want to share with you just to give an example of how kids feel about me in the classroom. It says, Dear Mrs. E, 4th grade went like a flash. I can't believe that there are like 2 months left in school. It felt like yesterday it was summer, and I was praying to be in your class for 4th grade. I'm really sad that 4th grade is ending, but I know through all these school years, 4th through 12th grade, even college, you will still be my teacher. Somewhere in my heart, I will still remember the best school year that is 4th grade. Even though there are still 2 months left in 4th grade, I will never forget you. I have never seen a teacher so kind and generous like you. I love you. Love, Serena. And I didn't bring that to like brag, but I brought it to show you the culture in the classroom. I also want you to know that, going back, that I believe that blended learning is the best way to prepare kids for their exciting future. I have confidence that every day I am meeting the kids that I need. And through those 7 words that I taught you before, communication, collaboration, critical thinking, and creativity, kids will be able to rise to that occasion. I would like to end my presentation with Vivi. Vivi is our timekeeper, and she developed this on her own. So I just handed her the timer, and I said, please let us know when the 25 minutes have ended. And so this is what she created on her own. It's only 9 seconds.
We love to learn! We love to learn!
So that tells everybody that it's time to rotate till the next time. Now, all I told her to do was to let us know. She created that cheer all on her own. She felt safe to take a risk. She was creative. And so with that left in your mind, I want you to know that I came to Brazil, which is still amazing to me. I don't even still believe it, to be honest with you. I came to Brazil with the hopes of inspiring you and to share my story. If I can create a 21st century blended learning model, then truly anybody can. And when I looked up words to describe inspire, I came up with encourage, energize, and motivate. And it is my hope today that through listening to my story, more teachers in your country, as well as my own country, will feel free to create new and exciting things in their class. Now, before I get off the stage, I'm going to take a risk here. And I am going to say, the best that I can in your language, nos amamos aprender, right? You guys understand that? Wait, that wasn't it. That wasn't it. So now here's my risk. I'm going to say it as a cheer. Now, is there anyone in the audience that would be willing to repeat it like my students did? Anyone? Anyone? No one? Okay, let's try it. Ready? Nos vamos a aprender. Great job. Thank you for having me.